So now, all of a sudden, in the wake of the Trump-Ukraine whistleblower Biden scandal, as we're sort of calling it, Democratic Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi is considering impeaching Donald Trump. There's a Washington Post report, very detailed, that Nancy Pelosi, up until last night on the phone, quietly sort of feeling out House Democrats about whether to start an impeachment inquiry as a result of this most recent scandal involving Donald Trump and Ukraine and Joe Biden. Now, to remind you my position on this, my position on impeachment has been sort of neutral in the sense that I'm fine doing it, I'm fine not doing it, but a decision has to be made. And whether there is or isn't going to be an impeachment inquiry, Democrats need to move forward on how to win in 2020, regardless of what the impeachment decision is. Either use the impeachment inquiry to try to win in 2020, or say we're not doing the impeachment inquiry and figure out how to win in 2020 anyway. Now, according to multiple senior House Democrats and congressional aides, Nancy Pelosi is asking around, is this Ukraine thing the tipping point? Making phone calls all day yesterday up to last night. And there's a key line from this Washington Post report about this story, which is that there are now many leadership aides who once thought Donald Trump's impeachment was unlikely, who are now saying they believe it to be almost inevitable. Remember that Nancy Pelosi's previous position was, oh, impeachment will be too divisive. So the question is, what has changed? And what has changed is the Ukraine story, which pulls together collusion, bribery, geopolitical extortion, suppression of whistleblowers, and this is extending interest in impeachment reportedly beyond just like the liberal base of House Democrats to more centrist Democrats as well. Democrats are admitting that the sort of tone and tenor of conversations around impeachment have changed since the Ukraine story broke. And although nothing has been finalized, it's important to remember that even if an impeachment inquiry did start, it could take some time, which I don't think is bad. I've said before, the decision about the impeachment inquiry should be made. The timing of it might be calculated to be more damaging to Trump if it's delayed a little bit until, maybe early 2020 would be the latest that I think it would make sense to start it. But then you also see Democrats wasting time with certain things around the Ukraine story. Here's an example. House Democrats are now planning to hold a vote on a resolution to maybe condemn Donald Trump's actions in regard to this Ukraine-Joe Biden thing. It's just a milquetoast, irrelevant thing. I mean, truly, I get it. You get something on the record, but it's just a waste. You're not going to do anything with that. And the idea of Ukraine as the tipping point, if international extortion of other countries for the benefit of Donald Trump's 2020 election chances by getting Ukraine to smear Biden is not a tipping point, something is very wrong. But we already had many of what should have been tipping points in the past already. The firing of the FBI Director James Comey, Donald Trump's 8 obstructive acts, Donald Trump supporting the Saudi war on Yemen, the financial crimes and cover-ups. I mean, to say we are now at a tipping point is accurate, but it also ignores that we've had a number of tipping points already. So what we get to in the end is that Nancy Pelosi now reconsidering impeachment, it's just a political calculation. Don't be tricked into thinking that what Nancy Pelosi is calculating is whether what Donald Trump has done is bad enough to justify an impeachment inquiry or impeachment proceedings. They want us to think that they're evaluating whether what Trump did is bad enough to justify impeachment. What they're really doing and what Nancy Pelosi is doing is calculating whether politically impeachment is likely to be a successful move. And when I say successful, I don't mean removing Trump before the November 2020 election. With Republicans controlling the Senate, you're not going to remove Donald Trump through impeachment. The question is, would impeachment be successful in the sense of being welcomed as the correct move by the public? Would it be potentially beneficial for the 2020 election? That is what Nancy Pelosi is now considering. And I want to hear from you. What do you think? I'm on Twitter at @DPakman. The show is on Twitter at David Pakman Show. I've said before, I could go either way on impeachment. The question is, what is the right calculation to be making? Do you believe the right calculation to be making is a political one? Is it a moral one? Is it a legal one? Let me know on Twitter at dpakman. I will also be streaming this evening on Twitch at twitch.tv/David Pakman. Make sure that you're following me there as well. Today's program brought to you in part by Blinkist.com/Pakman. Blinkist is a great service that I use all the time. What they do is they take thousands of the most popular nonfiction books, including the newest bestsellers. They condense them into 15-minute audiobooks that you can listen to, and you still get the most crucial information and insights from each book. And I've listened to a ton of books on Blinkist. I recently checked out Soccernomics by Simon Cooper. We do have, after all, the World Cup going on recently. We also have been talking about BS Jobs, and there is a great new book, BS Jobs by David Graeber, which I listen to on Blinkist. They're constantly adding new books to the platform. You will never run out of fascinating and critically acclaimed books to enjoy. And our audience can get a 7-day free trial by going to Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm putting a link in the video description. And after the free trial, if you like it, you can continue enjoying thousands of condensed audiobooks for about $5 a month. That's BLINKIST.com/PAKMAN.